This is an infographic on K-12 online and blended learning. It is a nice summary or takeaway of the information you will be studying in this workshop. In order to understand it better, this presentation will introduce you to the different sections in detail. Please take a moment to examine the infographic. Online learning is growing both in virtual schools and in brick-and-mortar schools through blended learning. What exactly is blended learning? Blended learning is a formal program where students learn partly through online delivery of content and partly within the brick-and-mortar school away from home. This gives students some control over pace, place, path, and time of learning. What are the benefits of blended learning? One benefit of blended learning is that teachers have more time to engage students individually because much of the basic course content and instruction is delivered online. Another benefit is that teachers tend to have less classroom management issues due to increased efficiencies across the board. One other benefit is increased participation in asynchronous courses that allow students flexibility in pace, path, place, and time of learning. What are the limitations of blended learning? In blended learning, there are many requirements for administrators, instructors, and students related to costs, equipment, infrastructure, and scheduling. Another limitation is that teachers need to be trained in technology utilization and data usage before they can begin to implement blended learning. One other limitation is that students need a lot of self-motivation in order to get the most out of the educational opportunities provided by blended learning. The first blended learning concept is called the rotation model. There are 4 subcategories of this model: station rotation, lab rotation, flipped classroom, and individual rotation. Please take a moment to look at the diagram. The first subcategory of the rotation model is called station rotation. In this model, students rotate on a fixed schedule, or at the teacher's discretion, between learning modalities within a particular course or subject. One of the learning modalities must be online learning. Some other modalities include pencil and paper, group projects, individual tutoring, and small group or full classroom instruction. The next subcategory of the rotation model is called lab rotation. In this model, students rotate on a fixed schedule or at the teacher's discretion within set locations in a brick-and-mortar school. One of the learning spaces is a learning lab where students engage in predominantly online learning. This model differs from station rotation because students rotate between places on campus instead of moving around within one classroom for the blended course or subject. The next subcategory of the rotation model is called flipped classroom, a model in which within a particular course or subject, students rotate on a fixed schedule between face-to-face teacher-guided practice or projects at school during the day and online delivery of content and instruction remotely after school, often at home. The next subcategory of the rotation model is called individual rotation. In this model, students rotate on an individually customized fixed schedule between learning modalities. One of the learning modalities must be online learning. This model differs from the other rotation models because students do not necessarily rotate to every available modality or station. The second main blended learning model is called the Flex model. In this program, instruction and content are primarily delivered online, with students rotating through the different modalities on an individually customized, fluid schedule. In this case, the teacher of record or other adults provide face-to-face support on an as-needed basis, using activities such as small group instruction, individual tutoring, and group projects. The third main blended learning model is called the self-blend model. In this model, students are allowed to take one or more courses entirely online, either on-site or off-site, as a supplement to their traditional courses. In this case, the teacher of record is the online teacher. The fourth and last main blended learning model is called the enriched virtual model. This model is a whole school experience where students receive content and instruction partly in the brick and mortar setting and partly in a remote online manner. This model differs from the flipped classroom because in the enriched virtual model, students rarely attend the campus every weekday. It differs from the self-blend model because it is a whole school program and not a course-by-course model. This concludes the presentation on the basics of blended learning. Thank you.